From now on, whatever I said, people actually listened. I said go, they went. I said don't go, they didn't go. Okay, they trusted me. Okay, and I know that my 1-5 and 1 in the beginning didn't follow up, but I realized after this game that you need to always micromanaging your team, even at the higher level. You know, for example, can I have a tango? Can you just buy shard? Can you just push a wave to get the lotus? You need to understand that, okay? And
down side to side like a roller coaster.
before I start this video, I want to say that I'm not a carry player. You know that I used to be a mid laner, and most importantly, I'm not the best mechanically skilled player. There are many reasons for that. First of all, I have ADHD, that means attention span. My head goes like ping pong. Second of all, I have carpal tunnel syndrome. You know, like you wake up and you want to cut your wrist because there's too much pain. And lastly, I'm a left-handed that clicks with one finger only, right? It goes right and left instead of clicking like this. As a result, you can tell that I'm having struggles when I get to play Dota, and nevertheless, I managed to reach like 8.3 as a peak. As a result, if I can do that, so can you. I'm not something special. I'm just playing the game on a macro level, and this is what we're gonna show in this game. Most of you know that this is a support channel, but lately I've actually been playing core, and this was not by choice. It was because Immortal Draft. Somebody had to play mid. I used to be a mid laner, so that's okay. And all of a sudden there is this game that I had to play position 1. And what we're gonna do in this video are actually two things. The first one is how to actually carry a game, even if you don't know how to play carry as a carry, if your team actually sucks. And from the team perspective, I want to explain what you can literally do to make to grief your carry and make him rage and make him yell, just like myself in this game. So yeah, two things: how to carry if your team sucks, and how to make your carry actually lose his mind. I'm not gonna waste time, and I'm gonna start actually with this replay. So in this game, I have actually last pick Sven. I get to play into Brewmaster, Spec, Snapfire, and Undying, right? And there was a last pick in Void. So why did I pick Sven? First of all, it's really good combo. I have like really good with Grimstroke. It's a lot of wombo combo. Of course, I have a Darkseer with Surge, and I get to buy Silver Edge that gets to counter the Spec. So it's a natural choice right now. Of course, there were other options like Gyrocopter. I think it was banned, but I actually didn't like Gyrocopter even if it wasn't banned, because, well, I don't like anything versus heroes that can just get to jump on me, and that buys Skadi. Phantom Assassin would have been great also because BKB, and also gets to buy Shard against a Spec, but again, it was banned. Right now, the game starts. I'm gonna go a little bit fast forward, okay? The first piece of advice as a character that I have to give you is do not contest the rune, right? So why do I stand there is because something like this might happen. So I can just get the stun, right? And I can just get the bot block a little bit here, and I'm gonna hopefully survive a first blood. But what I should have done in reality is, instead of going here, is to go straight up here, because all of a sudden, it's really smart out of the opponents, I get to fall into a trap, okay? Sometimes shit happens. Welcome to Dota 2. That was completely my fault, and I get to start the lane with, well, Undying at the first ball, but that's not a thing. And the most part, I'm not really gonna go into mechanics and stuff, right? It's like, okay, you know, secure range creep, and that's great, but the first piece of advice, if you like, how to grief your carry. If you don't really trade that good, how do you know that you're not trading that good? Because Glimpse is not the best ability to trade versus universal heroes, okay? As a result, when this guy's trade here, this guy is gonna be on top of him. Secondly, this guy doesn't have, for obvious reasons, as much damage as this guy when you add Scatter Blast, and this guy has a Glimpse, right? For you to have the most value out of Glimpse, in reality, you want to win the trade war. But of course, universals usually get on top of intelligent heroes when it comes to right clicks. And you know, for me, it's casual last hitting and stuff, right? And I'm gonna go really fast forward, okay? We get some kills here, that's nice, but I'm gonna tell you from experience that Sven isn't the strongest laner, Disruptor isn't the strongest laner, and of course Brewmaster and Snapfire have way more synergy than Sven and the Disruptor, right? So everything goes great, Disruptor dies, and a piece of advice for any support players: you can't force an interaction before you get level 2. You just can't do that, right? Especially if your level 2 is a big spike like Thunder Blast. Okay, he dies, everything is okay, and at this point, I'm getting like really low in terms of tangos, right? Really low in terms of tangos. We get some kills here, and of course, stupid Jeff thought, oh yeah, I don't have to say that, right? My 7k, 8k MMR position 5 Disruptor is going to buy more consumables, because this lane the longer it goes, the more levels you get, the harder it gets, right? And he gets a boot. And my man gets a boot, right? So Jeff watches that and says, okay, well, I'm gonna buy South, but still, like, I need you to help me to contest this Lotus, right? And you cannot get to pull before the Lotus. Usually what you wanna do is push the wave to get that Lotus, especially if you're like low HP, okay? So I'm going there, a little bit greedy to be honest, right? There is like some misunderstanding there for some reason, but please buy consumables for your position 1. Now you might say,
oh Jeff, but you're like higher rank than the average.
It doesn't matter, you just can't, okay? You need to help your position 1. You have to understand that the whole game, position 2, 3, 4, 5, is literally enabling the position 1, the carry, in all stages of the game. For example, the position 5 in the laning stage, the off laner in the mid game, the position 2 also in the mid game, maybe like in the laning stage as well, right? So I'm going back to the lane. I get more level in cleave, right? Because I want the strength bonus. I might actually got on only cleave level 1 and then just keep the skill points, but I feel like, you know, maybe I can just get to harass him, okay? This lane is super hard, and all of a sudden, Brewmaster plays incredible well because he just pulls every single time, even though he just pulls the range creep, and I cannot get to contest because this is literally 2v1. Do you see? And of course, please just single pull. If you're playing position 5, please single pull. Single pull is your best friend. It's not half pull. It's not like, of course, stack and pull. That's like a dream. Okay, it's just literally single pull. Give me the creep wave a little bit under the tower. Okay. Step number 1: buy more consumables. Okay, we're making some efforts here, but it's impossible. They have simply more spells than we do. Okay, I'm gonna drink coffee. A little bit forward, I'm actually, you know, trying to farm small camps and, you know, trying to actually get some kind of farm. This is not a fun lane. As you see, I have like went for Midas because I was like super mad at this Butch Disruptor, which if you're playing Butch Disruptor, I know you're probably Herald or something, okay? Or you really honestly gave up on the lane. When is it a good time to jungle? 7 minutes is the best because you can get some kind of jungle items. Obviously, Sven can jungle from now, but if you have heroes like Phantom Assassin, Draw Ranger, PL, all these heroes have level 6 power spike. As a result, you want level 6 before you go jungle, okay? Now, when it comes to farming, okay? When it comes to farming, your best friend in reality is lane creeps, okay? So when you have the option to go jungle or lane creeps, always choose lane creeps. Especially early on, lane creeps are really important. As you see, I get for the small camp, jungle item, and I will try to get some kind of jungle item to actually accelerate my farming, okay? Now, right now I'm just farming here, okay? And I'm starting running. I'm like, okay, I should like be safe here. But all of a sudden, what I calculated is like, oh, maybe I can just get to use my resources there, but spec was also too much, right? I was hoping that I would just get to teleport out, okay, in case this happened. And to see spec here is just Midas ahead, okay? And then I just like, okay, you know what? Let's not buy Midas, let's buy the trades, okay? And Sven actually farms really good. And at this point, I farm the mid lane. Why? Well, frankly, the mid lane is by far the worst place to farm. Why? Because you get to teleport on the lane that is the strongest enemy hero, right? And it's like the mid laner. By far, he should have like the most gold and the most levels. But as a result, I'm like fairly tanky. I have like these, so I think I can be fine versus him, right? Just for a wave, okay? Just for a wave. And of course, stacking is your best friend, okay? Now it's all about efficiency. I have to go full farm mode, okay? And as you see, I go for Siege of Serenity, which I think it's a great item if you have something like a PL and you struggle to survive to farm jungle, right? You just lose a lot of health. Right now, the plan is this: I need to farm the safest amount of farm I can find, and hopefully I can get to 510. So going to step number 2, the first one is like, go to laning stage. If it doesn't work out, go to jungle. Step number 2 is find creep waves if you can. It's so essential to find creep waves. It's not only about the farm, which is quality farm. In reality, it's about actually pushing waves and having more air to breathe, okay? But there is only one problem, and we're gonna discuss it later on. You can never, ever have 3 waves pushing towards you. To give you an example, right? This lane pushes here. This wave pushes here. This wave pushes here. So what you're thinking is like, okay, what's going on here? Why? Because if all 3 lanes are pushing, they were just getting too much out of the map and you're getting nothing, okay? As a result, well, naturally, they're gonna have such a huge lead that it will lead to a loss, okay? And you're hitting creeps with creeps, and of course, as we said, lane. And we'll keep farming, okay? Okay, I just get to teleport. That was a little bit risky, but I get to see them here. And of course, if you force them top, like you can see them up, if you force them on one side and you teleport, and this is something that usually losing heroes get to do with mana style like Medusa and Luna, right? You force them on one side or like an anti-mage, and all of a sudden you just get to teleport on the other side of the map and you just get to farm. And this is what I do. How to grief your carry? You farm his map. Hello, Mr. Albert. Albert, why you have a Vanguard, you have a wand? Why are you getting to my triangle, right? And I understand that from lower ranked players, I get to see that a lot in coaching. Like, my solution to this guy is literally just get out of here. Honestly, just get out. I start screaming, like, what are you doing? You just can't do that. And this guy constantly kept doing that and doing that. What's the solution to that? Tell him to literally get out of there. If he doesn't do that, well, I don't know. In this game, I actually lost sanity. Like, you cannot get to do that, right? And look at the map again. Look at the map again. Top is pushing. Mid is even. Bot is here, right? I'm like, why is my Darkseer farming jungle? Why can't you just cut some waves to give me some space? So I decide I need, and this is something I really try to do, to push a wave, right? And I got punished for that. There is an invoker next to me again. Okay, and I'm like, okay, I'm fairly tanky here. Apparently I wasn't, and I died. Okay, but still, in my opinion, probably it wasn't the best map understanding right now, but the waves needs to be pushed. Otherwise, the map gets smaller and smaller, and your carry has nowhere to farm. And for some reason, this is where I tell him, hey, you just can't do that. Stop. You instead, you know what you can do, Mr. Darkseer? You can just get to stack for me, right? Right, you can just get the stack. Okay, ideally I want to take this tower, but it's just too hard. Okay, and of course, number 3 or number 4, I don't know at this point, is use your spells for farming. You have a Razor, you have a Sven. Use your spells for farming. Do not hesitate that. The moment I see that, I'm like, okay, this is not happening again. The worst way to actually farm as a carry, to have like the worst GPM possible, is to be dead. So make sure you're gonna be alive, right? So I'm getting my Echo Saber, and this is where it comes to understanding. When do you fight? That's a really nice question. When do you fight? And the answer is, you fight when you're strong. When are you strong? And this is about knowing matchups and knowing itemization, okay? For example, Sven needs BKB. For example, he needs Mask of Madness, Echo Saber, BKB. Now if you have a Dagger or Silver Edge, that's great, but after BKB you can fight. Illusion Heroes also needs 3 items. For example, PL, Axe, Diffusal, and Manta is really good. Terrorblade needs 3 items. That could be what you want. Naga, for example, needs 2 items. Manta and Orchid, but usually she wants to fight after Manta, Orchid, and Heart, and you start to get the idea, okay? Luna, 3 items, and so on, okay? You just need to know. Some exceptions can just fight with 2 items, like Troll with something like Fury BKB or Fury SNY, or PA if she goes for second item BKB, not Desolator. Even with Desolator, you can fight, but you don't want to fight, okay? At this point, I realized here, and this is like the support aspect of myself, hey, maybe I can just get the help here, right? I'm just watching, I want to join, and then I'm like, fuck it. And you know what to do? Use ulti, keep farming, okay? And of course, what do you farm? You farm lane creeps. If you can just farm lane all the time, okay? I'm gonna go a little bit more fast forward, okay? At this point, I want you to see the map, okay? This is usually the mid lane. You want to be around here to be dead even. But usually this is like my lane, but this is not happening because this tower hasn't fallen. So, well, you can't really take advantage of this lane because, well, it doesn't become dead. People can actually react to the tower, they can just get to teleport, okay? So what's the plan? In reality, you want to farm where the enemies are not, right? So that's the idea of the carry. If they're bot, you have to go top. If you're top, you have to be bot. At least until you're strong enough to fight. And all of a sudden I see their freaking spec being here. I'm like, okay, she can't be alone. So, okay, guys, I'm gonna go top. And here's the situation. I would just love, of course, lane creeps, right? I would just love to literally to farm a little bit here right now. I would actually just love that, right? And you know what else I would just love? My Darkseer not actually farming these waves and actually pushing waves with an aim shield. That's the idea. Everybody should play around the position 1. If you're offlaner, if you're support, play around enabling the position 1, okay? Because right now, I see, the moment I see this guy here, the invoker, I'm like, okay, there is too much high tempo for me to play without BKB, okay? So what is the solution to that? I need to play still. I need to play, at least in my opinion, to make the play there because no one pushes away, right? Look at this. Mid lane even. Bot, no one farms it. Darkseer is just deep into the jungle, you know? It's like, it's jungle out there from Detective Monk. I'm like, what is going on here, okay? Okay. And of course, we get to lose another fight. That could be my fault, but I feel like I have no other choice. Teleport back. And here's the key thing that, in my opinion, this is a way to play, okay? I'm like, are they going high ground? And because it's too soon, but they're so far ahead, 13k, 20 minutes in is an insane lead. And the answer is, even if they're going high ground, I believe that when you're going too early, your teammates can always find a way to hold for a few more minutes, right? So coming up here, my Darkseer is again farming here. I'm like, okay, you just can't. I'm just thinking, get out. Okay, and farming, and now have the BKB. Okay, now that you have BKB, the dynamic changes. Not because I'm getting stronger. In reality, what happens is I can just get to push waves until I'm like slightly a little bit stronger. And if I get caught once again, at least I can just get to BKB TP out, because there is no piercing BKB ability unless they get the BKB. So there is no path, there's no venge, there's no Finn's grip from Bane. They're not like these type of things, okay? Of course, take wisdom. Wisdom is yours, especially if you're playing from behind, okay? And they get Roshan. And as we see, the game becomes harder and harder. How do you fix that? Right now, I'm just super strong, okay? I try to fight, but just not happening. So what's the solution? Push waves at this point, okay? Now, I want to give you an input. This wasn't a calm game, and I'm not the best carry player, okay, as I explained previously. But at this point, you just have to say, hey, you need to push waves, man. You need to push waves. You just can't play like that. But some people don't understand that, right? And you have to do the dirty work, okay? At this point, you need to play them up, okay? I gave it a lot of thought because before I make this play. But at this point, I'm like, okay, Brewmaster top, spec here. I have the BKB. It's okay. I really gave it a lot of thought before I use this ulti, because if I use ulti, I cannot get to fight for another like 2-3 minutes, right? Until there's like off cooldown. But the thought process is this. I have a pack, I have a Grimstroke, I have Vacuum. It's gonna be really hard for enemies to go high ground, so I count on that, right? I count on, okay, if they even with the Aegis, if they hit my high ground door, then they can get hold for 2-3 waves, okay? For like a minute for sure. At this point, I became greedy as well. Okay? BKB TP out at this point, okay? So what do? In reality, I said pack, hey, push, okay? This is the time. Push waves. Of course, this is not the best BKB usage, but when you're like so far behind, 23 minutes in, you don't really have like a choice. You need to play to push the waves. You need to take everything that you can from the map, okay? I saw my Grimstroke having a dagger and he's going for Etherance. I'm like, why don't you have a shard? Are you joking me? I'm like, I went like full tilt mode there. Can you just buy the freaking shard? It's like, by the way, if you don't play Grimstroke, or if you have Grimstroke and they don't have shard, just click on the report button unless you're like 1 KMR and just press report. It's an actual grief right now, okay? I'm like, please buy the freaking shard. There's so many things to dispel, okay? And a little bit greedy move from me here, to be honest, because I don't have the BKB, okay? So I'm gonna give that to my team, right? I'm gonna give that. Team actually reacted, and finally Darkseer became useful. So I actually survived, okay? Of course, we don't get to win the fight, but this is like the critical moment of the game, okay? Right now, really think what's gonna happen, okay? And I'm gonna give you like a moment. They are going to take tier 2, and we see this in the professional scene, we see this in the past, we see that all the time. When enemies taking your offlane tier 2, what is the next thing that they usually get to do? You can pause the video to think about that. It's a little bit obvious, but if you don't know that, everybody gets to do that. Oh, take tier 2, and then we're gonna go for the Tormentor, right? This is it. Take tier 2, and then we're gonna go for the Tormentor. And now, this is, well, in reality, when all the knowledge, support, mid lane, carry, doesn't really matter. This is it. I'm saying, hey, team, can we just fight now? I don't even get to ask them.
Jeff, I wanted to make a play, but my team didn't want to. I tell them to smoke.
You don't tell them. You don't say, hey, can we smoke? No, you say smoke, and you smoke on top of them. And whoever came. In reality, like, if we don't fight this, 15k gold. 15k gold at 25 minutes in, it's huge. And look at this. I'm standing behind here. I know that I'm gonna get revealed. Why? Because the Tormentor is gonna hit me. I'm saying, hey, Mr. Position 3, can you become useful? And, well, he's pushing, but at this point, it just, in my mind, it's just all so obvious. Look at this. They're hitting. And right now, it's just me, Greenstroke, and the support. Which, you know, look at this. Yelling sometimes, I say that with a smile, pays off, you know, and actually caps locking, if people have no ego, might listen. I'm like, finally, look at this. And I'm just YOLO. No dagger, no initiation. There you go. I'm just taking the fight really slow. This is it. Everything that we've been waiting, that could be your 3-item spell. This is my big spike, okay? 2 kills, okay? And you know what you do when you win a fight, because this is by far not won, okay? You know what you do when you win a fight? You don't want to push objectives 25 minutes in. You want to take more farm, so by the next time you actually fight, you have more items. So the outcome, the same outcome, what happens right now, it's going to be done way easier. You don't have to necessarily surprise them like we did, okay? And now something happens to the mid lane, and I'm running. Why am I running? I have BKB, I have ulti, I can connect. Do I need to use everything just for a pickoff? Yes, because if the pickoff is something like an invoker, 50 seconds cooldown. So by the time he's up, by the time he respawns, until the time, you know, he walks to the lane and they group up to make a play, everything else is going to be off cooldown. So yeah, at least for Sven, it's really nice to use spells for pickoffs, right? Okay. C2 heroes, and instantly I get to use stuff, right? I get to use stuff, and I hard commit here. Why? Because 2 dead, 3 dead, and I cannot get to punish unless they have buyback, okay? You get the pickoffs, 3 dead, what do? Look at this. Take the when you win a fight next to an objective, and this is really crucial, you usually want to push waves. You want to push waves, you want to push waves. You don't want to take objectives. 2 exceptions on that. Number 1, when you take a fight next to an objective, oh, we win a fight next to a Roshan, well, we take Roshan. Or you win a fight next to tier 2. Tier 2s are hard to get. The exception is tier 1. And of course, when you take the objective, what do? Instantly fix lanes. Fix lanes, fix lanes, fix lanes. So by the next time they get to be alive, you want to have more items, okay? And all of a sudden, after the next fight, we're at this point. Now, look at the map. Okay, we have vision here, we have vision here, no one pushes top, no one pushes mid, no one pushes bot. Well, if no one appears in any of the lane, the first thing is actually started looking if creep waves just die. So when no one pushes waves, you know that something is about to happen. So you get to scan nearby and you go to your safest place. Safest place is tier 3, and the second safest place is actually triangle. It's really hard to penetrate, okay? It's really hard to penetrate. You have vision. You know, if buyback happens, you can just get right now with a new outpost to teleport and just, you know, buyback and just teleport there. So this is it, okay? So we smoke, and this is like a prophylactic smoke, okay? And what you want to do is, usually you penetrate this way, or you're going to penetrate this way. No matter what, I feel like really tanky. Look at this. We're going this way, and always, 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 you don't want to be the frontliner as carry. Gyrocopter, Luna, PL, even like Wraith King, you rarely are going to jump, right? Look at this. Fight happens, and I'm the last one. And this applies mostly for assassins, but in reality, it applies for everyone, okay? For every carry. You don't want to be the first one that's gonna join, because all of a sudden, I don't care if everyone else just die, as long as I'm alive, okay? And right now, I'm like really strong and starting to hit everyone, okay? And right now I'm just stuck there. I get nullified. There's nothing better for me than just to stand my ground, okay? Disengage, re-engage, get the kill, okay? Play around your timings. What do we do right now? Yes, you heard correct. Push waves. Not push objectives, literally just push waves. I'm not gonna go into a lot of details, but this, like the last fight I wanna mention is, look at this. In reality, I can get to use ulti and BKB again, because while these guys might spawn, we're gonna kill the Snapper, we're gonna kill the Undying, sorry, the Snapper and the Undying, and by the time this guy's up and he respawns and he connects to the team and they make something happen, my ultimate, my BKB is gonna be off cooldown anyway, okay? Now, we get to actually get the ages, get some objectives, In the meantime, we use the ages to make sure that I'm gonna get even fatter, to become, for example, to get a satanic. That's like really great for me. There are just so many things to dispel, and at this point, the game becomes even. Now it's up to execution. But I'm gonna say something. If you come back gold-wise from a game, enemies are mentally broken, okay? Your morality, the way the team feels right now, all of a sudden, all this typing and get shard and smoke and go, all these leads will either lead to two things. Either get reported if you miss, or if you know what you're saying on the macro level, you will get to actually get trust from your team and they're gonna listen to you. From now on, whatever I said, people actually listened. I said go, they went. I said don't go, they didn't go, okay? They trusted me, okay? And I know that my 1-5 and 1 in the beginning didn't follow up, but I realized after this game that you need to always micromanaging your team, even at the higher level. You know, for example, can I have a tango? Can you just buy shard? Can you just push a wave to get the lotus? You need to understand that, okay? And I realized that if I don't do that, Darkseer is still gonna farm jungle and he's not gonna let me get the triangle, for example, okay? Lastly, we use the ages, as I said. We're gonna take one last fight. Literally, the game is still even, but I'm like so far ahead. I get the shard. Why do I get the shard? Because Warcry is now undispellable and buffed allies. And again, coming from a support aspect, I'm gonna Warcry. I'm gonna give literally everyone like 25 armor. And even though Spec can be, you know, kind of a pure damage, she doesn't get to nullify my team. I really want this Grimstroke to be alive. I really want this Disruptor to be alive. I love supports. I find a lot of use of that, okay? And this is like my mentality, okay? Play around the team, right? At this point, I buy the shard. At this point, the fight happens, okay? And I get like EMP'd, but at this point, I can just get to use a panic. I'm just like really strong right now, okay? I just get to 2-shot. And we just get to, you know, kill Spec back to back. I tried to get a rampage. Glory didn't happen. And don't blame anyone. And we actually managed to win this game. So I'm gonna sum up two things here. First of all, if you're not playing carry, please do not take away the farming zones from him. It's so essential. If you're like 1 KMR, 2 KMR, 5 KMR, 10 KMR, definitely everybody does that. Try not to do that. Try to help him, especially if it's a player that actually gets to flash farm, like a Medusa, like a Sven, like a PL with Axe, like a Battlefield PA or something, okay? The second thing is if you're playing carry, you need to try to get creep waves, just not do that as great as I did because I got punished a lot, right? And the second thing is fight around your timings. You need to know your timings. You need to know what you need to actually win this game. What's your optimization? And of course, if I don't get BKB, well, just a cold snap is gonna mess up with me. Brewmaster is gonna split and he's gonna like put me in the air, okay? And last thing is like micromanaging your team. Maybe you don't wanna use voice chat, yeah. But you can definitely just type, hey, Grimstroke, buy shard, it's really important. Hey, don't farm my area, stop, okay? You just can't do that. Of course, you buy tangos and stuff. I'm not gonna repeat myself, okay? That is the video. Hopefully it helps you, right? And lastly, and I really want to show the fight before I forget, right? I really want to show the fight that was like the game changing, in my opinion, okay? It's they're gonna take, after the tower, they're gonna take the Tormentor, and you know this is gonna happen. If you don't know that by now, it's now that you get to see this picture, you know that, right? And I get to smoke. If no one wants to do anything, you are gonna do something, okay? If my offlaner doesn't want to do anything, and I'm saying offlaner because usually it's the offlaner and the supports that usually get to do the smoke, you need to do it yourself. I'm strong, you don't wanna buy a smoke, like, I don't know what you wanna do, I'm gonna smoke. I will either lose the game than solo, or we will lose it anyway, right? This is, if they take this Tormentor, it's just too much snowball. We can get to fight, we can get to surprise them, okay? We can actually get surprised. There is nothing else here. I was like, please fight. And hopefully Grimstroke, this shard pays off. Disruptor here with the Glimmer Cape. I'm like, at this point, YOLO. Stun, you know it's coming, okay? And you know, then you're just going really hard, okay? Guys, that's the video. I hope you like it. It's a little bit longer than I know, but in reality, this is how to actually carry a game as a carry and how to win a game of Dota 2. First of all, tell me your thoughts if you liked the video, if you didn't like it, if you agree or if you disagree. This is what I teach to my students, at least fight on power spikes, but it's like I'm not gonna repeat myself. And lastly, if you want to join our coaching program, join our community, have others that want to improve, apply down below. We would be more than happy to actually have anyone join us. Nothing to say, waiting for your comments. GG Jeff, and I'll see you on the next video. Hey guys, real quick, if you did like this video, make sure you subscribe, like and comment, as it motivates us a lot to keep making these videos and these guides. And of course, make sure you check out our 6-month coaching program. It's almost guaranteed that's gonna get you to the next metal, if not metals. The link is gonna be down in the descriptions. Make sure you click it and apply right now.